Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, welcome. So today we'll discuss about the control engineering subject, which is in the 7th semester. Okay. So here, probably what you have studied till now, it is a little bit interrelated to your mechatronics. Okay. So your controls and actuators, sensors. Okay, all this will be come into this picture. Okay. So we'll first go with discussion on the syllabus, how it is framed. Okay. So if you look at the module 1, it talks about only the controls, I mean concept of automatic controls. So how this controlling of any automatic, say for example your heater or a geyser, okay, it's going to be controlled to a certain temperature. So how it can be happen, what are the sensors can be used, okay, what are the actuators can be used to control the temperature and all those. Once it reaches the required temperature, once it reaches the required temperature, then it automatically cut off the power supply, and it will make the water gets heated up to the given temperature or set temperature or desired temperature, whatever you can call in a technical term, right? And how these automatic controls has evolved, and what are the different types of control systems. We know that open loop control system and closed loop control system, and I think you have studied in your mechatronics or sim, I think so. And then concept of feedback, why the feedback of the output is required. So the feedback is here refers to the output of the system. So the system is given with a reference input, and it undergoes some process, and it gives out an output, right? So whether the output is whatever you obtain is desired output we got or not with reference to the input. So that we need to check. For how we are going to check with that, then we implement the feedback system. That is, a feedback system is nothing but which senses the output and then gives back to the comparator, which compares the input and output, and then it gives the error. So generally error should be zero. Generally error should be zero. So in order to reduce the error, we are going to use the controller. We are going to use the controller. So that's what the concepts of feedback, and then requirements of an ideal control system. So an ideal control system in the sense, any control system, how it should be. What about the speed, and what about the response of the system? What about the oscillatory behavior in the system, and the stability of the system? All this will be come into the picture in the requirements of an ideal control system. And types of controllers, what are the, as I told you that in order to reduce the error, and as well as the response of the system, we need to use the controllers. What are the different types of controllers we have? So normally you might have heard about the PID controllers. Normally you might have heard about the PID controllers. So how the PID controller has come? So there are three basic controllers, that is called proportional controller and integral controller and differential controller. So each one has its own its own importance, and then afterwards they will go by with the combinations depending on the requirement. So proportional, integral, and proportional differential, and then all the three combinations at one single controller. So that is a combination, means proportional plus integral plus differential, that is called as PID controller. Okay, so this is about the first chapter. First chapter is purely theoretical, and it is you will get around 20 marks from this, 20 marks from this module 1, and it is purely on what you call theory. Okay, so no problematic in the module 1. So if you look at that module 2, from module 2 onwards you will be having the numericals. From module 2 there is no theory point of questions. Of course, they will be asked the theory point of questions very less, around 4 to 6 marks, not much. Okay, so now coming to the modeling of physical systems. So modeling of physical systems, how you can develop a mathematical model how to develop a mathematical model for a mechanical system, electrical system, thermal system, and hydraulic pneumatic systems and all those. So if you know that what is a mechanical system, generally the mechanical system is defined with three basic elements. Three basic elements. That is, I'm talking about when a linear motion, when it is in a linear motion. So three basic elements are nothing but mass, damper, and the spring. So these are the three basic mechanical elements. Then with that three basic elements, we need to develop a mathematical model in a linear motion. So in a linear motion, of course, we have different types of motions, of course, translation motion and linear motion. So we rotational motion also we have, right? So that how to develop this mathematical model. So what are the forces acting on it? So what are the displacement, what is the velocity, and what is the acceleration is going to gain by the body mass m, and what is the displacement can be caused by this what we call spring, and as well as what is the frictional force is acting on the damper system. So all these three elements, so you need to find out the force on these three elements, and then make a mathematical equation to develop a mathematical model of a mechanical system. Similarly, for the electrical and as well as thermal and hydraulic, if you take the electrical, we know that three basic elements, a resistor and a conductor and capacitor. These are the three basic elements. If you take any electrical system, which they are going to present like a mechanical system, how the three elements are there. In the electrical system also, three basic elements are there. What are those? We have the resistor and capacitor and inductor. So these are the three basic elements. So then we know how the current in a particular electrical circuit flows, and then what is the voltage across the terminals. These things you need to, voltage and the current will be the two variables which you need to develop a mathematical equation. Based on this voltage and current, we need to write a mathematical equation for the electrical system, so that we can develop a mathematical models for a mechanical system, electrical system, thermal system, hydraulic and pneumatic system, and all those. So these are the mathematical modeling of physical system. It is purely on what you call derivations will be there on this modeling of physical systems. And analogous systems means which is equivalent to electrical systems. So mechanical system equivalent to electrical. So if you convert this mechanical system into equivalent electrical system, that is called as direct analogous system. We can call as force voltage analogy and force current analogy. There are two methods are there. One is force voltage analogy and force current analogy for mechanical, thermal, and fluid systems. So we are going to, after developing a mathematical model for mechanical system, then we use this FI analogy or FE analogy for finding the direct and inverse analogous for the mechanical system. That is nothing but equivalent electrical system. Then we come to the, of course, this is also derivations. The analogous systems also derivations, more derivations we have. And coming to the block diagram algebra. So this is one more very important topic where we are going to represent any physical system in the form of blocks. Means block is a functional block. Means any mathematical system, if you take, you might have a each element in a particular system. Each element in a particular system has its own functionality. Say just riding a vehicle. Here, if I want to control the speed of riding a vehicle, I need to have a first what is the set speed. Say for example, I want to run my vehicle at 60 kmph. So that is my set speed, and I have to look at my speedometer whether it is going at 60 kmph or not. So here ice is going to be a functional element which is going to sense the speed, right? So that ice has taken as a one functional block, okay, that is act as a sensor, and that senses the output, and then it sends a signal to the comparator, means to the mind. We are going to compare this my vehicle has to run at 60 kmph. If it is going beyond the 60 kmph, then you need to reduce the speed. Then immediately that brain controls the actuator. So here actuator, your hand is going to be act as a actuator which actuates the system. Means if I want to reduce the speed, if it is going above 60, then you have to reduce the speed. If it is below 60, then I have to increase my accelerator. So the brain controls the actuator to raise or lower the speed of a system. So here each and every element has its own functionality. So each function in a particular system each element has its own function that should be represented in the form of blocks. That should be represented in the form of block. So the physical system should be represented in the form of blocks. That is nothing but it's a block diagram of any physical system. So representation of feedback control system and transfer function. So this is the one more very important equivalent transfer function is nothing but which is defined as Laplace transform of output response to the Laplace transformation of input response. So here in this second unit, second modules, you will be knowing that the Laplace transformation also, M3, M4, I think, which you have studied, that is going to help you in this control engineering subject, and differential equations and partial differential equations, and as well as partial fractions. All these inverse Laplace transformation, all these basic mathematics are required for this control engineering subject. Okay, so in this transfer function is nothing but it's a Laplace transformation of output divided by Laplace transformation of input. And what are the rules of block diagram? So rules are nothing but how the block diagram is going to be drawn, and then all those. And reduction of block diagram to obtain a closed loop transfer function. So reduction rules we have. So means the block diagram which has several components in a particular physical system. So each component has its own functionality. So we need to reduce it to a simple form to get the transfer function. In order to get the transfer function, the block diagram, which is in a what you call, so which a lot of small blocks, that has to be reduced to a single block. It has to be reduced to a single block in a forward path and single block in a feedback path. So here, so in order to reduce this single block in a forward path and single block in a feedback path, we are going to apply the reduction rules. So these are the reduction rules we are going to study in the block diagram algebra. And also one more method of representation of any physical system is using the signal flow graph. So block diagram and signal flow graphs both are they are going to use to represent any physical system in the form of graph. Here it is, and in the form of blocks it is called as a block diagram. If it is in the form of signal flows, then it is called as a signal flow graphs. So here also we need to find out the transfer function of the response, system, using the Mason's gain formula. So there is a Mason scientist which has come out with this signal flow graph methodology to find out the transfer function of any physical system. So using that formula, we are going to find out that signal flow, transfer function. So this is about the second module. Okay, this is about the second module. So here I want to touch upon how this online classes is going to be conducted. So there is 55 minutes of class will be there, and then 45 minutes of the class will be taken. Remaining 10 minutes will be a quiz asking for 5 to 10 questions roughly. So you have to, at the end of each class, you will be having 10 questions, 5 to 10 questions. So you need to answer for those questions. So for that is the 10 minutes will be given for the quiz. Okay, and the remaining 5 minutes is given for the changeover for the next class. Okay, so this is how the class is planned. 45 plus 10 plus 5. Okay, so 55 is the total class time, and at the end of the class, conducting a quiz with us in the same class. What happened on that particular day and that particular hour? Okay, and that particular hour, what the teacher taught, and based on that, he is going to be asked those 5 to 10 questions, and you need to answer for that questions. Okay, so this is how, and also intermittently we'll take the attendance. Attendance is mandatory, not like the previous semester. So it is very compulsory. So everybody has to attend the class, and then attempt the quiz. If anybody is not attended the quiz, then it is assumed that he is absent for the class, even though he is present. Okay. So this is how so please and also text the in the chat box your USN, and but if I told you that I'll be taking the attendance intermittently. Okay, so if you miss the class, I'll be calling only 2 times, not twice, not more than that. Okay, so if 2 times, if you have not responded, then it will be marked as absent. Okay, like so, please be in the class and then don't go away. Just put on the your system on, and then okay, that's the thing. That is about your class. So once the module, not only module 1, if I have topics to touched upon up to this point. Then I'm going to ask some 5 to 6 questions in that through Google Classroom. Okay, so I'll be conducting a quiz on the Google Classroom. So we'll be going with that, and then you need to answer immediately. I'll put the link here and enable the Google Classroom immediately so that you can answer the questions. Okay, right. So that is about the how the online classes is going to be conducted from now onwards. Now coming to the module 3. So if you look at the model 2, of course, the model 2 is a completely problematic in the sense not with the numerals. It is a completely based on the your what you call derivations. Okay, it is up to this analogous systems, the derivations, block diagram, and signal flow graph is a simple logical application will be there. How to reduce the block diagram, how to find out the transfer function using the signal flow graphs and all those. And then coming to the module 3 is steady state operations, steady state analysis. So here we are going to study the time response of the system. Means how the system is responding once the input is given. So for a particular point of time, it has to reach the steady state. It has to reach the steady state. Say for example, the fan is designed for a desired speed of so and so. So here when I switch on the system, so the initially as the t increases, the time increases, the initially the fan is going to be rotated slower speed, and as the time increases, say for example around 30 seconds or 20 seconds, say for example, or 20 seconds, then it is attains its desired speed. If you're set at point, I mean the set at 5, if you set at the 5 in the sense high speed, then it attains the speed at after 20 seconds, and then constantly even the time increases, even after 1 minute, after 2 minutes, after 5 minutes, the speed of the fan is going to be same. So means that is called as stable. That is called as stable or steady state. We can call it as steady state. Means it reaches the steady state condition after a particular point of time. Means that initially when it is switched on, immediately if it runs at set speed, then it is called high stable systems. But it has to undergo any system, any physical system, it has to undergo the transient phase. So transient is nothing but with respect to time. Any element, any parameter, d by dt, we can say it is called d by dt, means with respect to time, it is going to change. So the transient phase means with respect to time, it is going to change, and steady state is nothing but it won't change with respect to time. It is a constant. So the time response, the response of a system, output of a system, how it is going to respond with respect to the time is going to study by using this steady state analysis as well as transient response analysis. So transient response is always will be there in any physical system which has to undergo the transient, and then it has to come to steady state. As we told in the example of fan, switching of the fan, after say for example 5 minutes, if you look at the fan, it will be at same constant speed, it's going to be rotated. So similarly, if you look at in the beginning of this switching of the fan, so it is not rotating at the speed which is desired. So that is what you can call as transient response. Means as the time increases, then it is going to be responded in a different manner. That is called as a transient response. So transient response you know to study, and as well as steady state operation, steady state you are going to response we are going to study. So here the steady state analysis for general block diagram for a control system or steady state characteristics and the equilibrium system. Transient response in the sense here we are going to study the standard inputs. We are going to take the standard inputs for the standard inputs, how the system is behaving, that we are going to study. So here is also we are going to have the numericals as well as the derivations we have in this steady state analysis and the transient response analysis. So transient response and steady state analysis of unit input and step input, ramp input, parabolic input. There are 4 standard inputs are there. There are 4 standard inputs are there, but here as we mentioned only the unit input and step input, but we'll go with the all 4 inputs. We'll go with the all 4 inputs, and we study how the response of the system is for these inputs, standard inputs we can call it as. Okay, and then general operational representation for a differential equation of control system, and the repeated and complex conjugate zeros. So we are going to study what is the poles and what are the zeros of a system. So poles are nothing but which make the transfer function is infinite. Those are called as poles of the system, and zeros are nothing but 0 is nothing but it's not a value here. It is a root of a particular equation. It is a root of particular equation. Then when the transfer function makes 0, the truths are called as zeros. The truths are called as zeros. And the general form of transient response. And here the stability, as I talks about that stable nature. After 5 to 6 minutes, the fan is going to reach the desired speed. At desired speed. That's what we can say. It is called as stable in nature. So how to study the stability of a system? How to study the stability of the system? So Routh's stability criteria for a control system. Routh's stability criteria for a control system. There is one methodology which you need to find out how the system is going to be stable or not. Okay, is it a marginally stable or it's a completely unstable? The designed system, whatever you have designed, the physical system, we need to study the stability of that particular system. So means stability in the sense, if I given any reference input, if you give any input for a particular physical system which you are designed, it has to give a response, or it has to give a desired output. It has to give a desired output or controlled output. Okay, then we can say the system is stable system. So that we need to go into study about your physical system, whether it is a stable or not, by using your Routh's stability criteria. Routh's stability criteria. And this is of course, Routh stability criteria is numericals. It is about numericals completely. And root locus plots. One more chapter is root locus plots. So root locus plots is nothing but it is a study of the locus of roots. The name says root locus is nothing but it is a locus of roots of a equation. So roots of a equation. So here root locus method is going to completely talks about how the system is stable. Stability of the system we are going to study by using the root locus once again. So here, in order to plot the root locus, how to plot this root locus, we have a different steps or procedure, whatever you can call it, the rules, whatever you can call. Okay, so here there are around 9 to 10 steps are there. For if you follow these, if you understand these 9 steps, you can automatically how to construction of root locus can be easily done. So these steps are rules which are very important to construct the root locus. So once you construct the root locus, then the stability of the system is going to study by using root locus method. So how to construct a how to construct the rules? What you call steps is there in this particular module 3. So there is angle condition, macro condition, breakaway points, angle of departure. We'll go in detail when it comes to the root locus plots. Okay, so this is very easy, and you can, once you understand this 9 steps, it is easy for you to go through this root locus plots. And one more very importantly, this Leigh and Ladd compensation. This actually comes in the module 5. I don't know why they are kept in the module 3. The compensation of the system comes in the system compensation. So it is actually in the module 5, but anyhow it will be easy for you to after module 5 that I'm going to cover this Leigh and Ladd compensation. Okay, up to root locus construction of root locus I'm going to cover in the module 3. So Leigh and Ladd compensation will be covered in the module 5. So that will goes to the system compensation actually. Okay, right. So this is about the module 3. Of course, it is a lengthy. You can choose. They might mix also. So, but root locus is a one of which takes around 30 to 40 minutes. If you won't practice the construction of root locus, so 30 to 40 minutes it is going to take for construction of root locus. But it has to be constructed only in the graph sheets. The regular graph sheets, how you use the graphs in laboratories, that regular graph sheets has to be used for construction of root locus. So the root locus is mainly to study the stability of the system using the root locus. So once you construct the root locus, I'll explain you how to study the stability of the system, how to study the stability of the system. That will discuss in the module 3. And coming to the module 4, we know that module 4 is discuss about the frequency domain analysis. In this, relationship between the time and frequency response. So there is a time domain. Generally, we are going to use the Laplace transformation here also. So time and frequency response. We know that time response systems, which is in the what you call differential equation, higher order differential equations in the time domain cannot be easily solved, right? So in that, we are going to use the Laplace transformation, which makes the higher order differential equations into a linear algebraic equation in the frequency domain. In the frequency domain, that is what the advantage of your Laplace transformation and Fourier transformation and all those. So that's why the frequency domain analysis, where we are going to higher order differential equations, which represents the physical system. Higher order differential equations, which represent the physical system, we are going to use in the Laplace transformation. So this is how we are going to study here the polar plot, Bode plot, Nyquist plot, and these are all only we study the stability of the system. So once you design a particular physical system, then we need to study the stability of the system. So how to study the stability of the system? So one method is by root locus, and one method is frequency domain analysis. Okay, so in this frequency domain analysis, we are going to study the polar plot and as well as Bode plot and Nyquist plot. These are the three plots which are going to study in the frequency domain analysis. So Nyquist plot and Nyquist stability criteria, relative stability, phase and gain margins. So these are going to be studied when the after construction of the diagram. So Bode plot is also Bode plot is going to be constructed in the semi-log graphs. Semi-log graphs means x-axis is going to be a logarithmic scale and y-axis is going to be linear scale. X-axis is going to be logarithmic scale and y-axis is going to be linear scale. So that is what you can call as semi-log graphs. Semi-log graphs might be getting in stores. So you need to take this semi-log graphs while constructing the Bode plot. Okay, so this is about the module 4. Module 4 is completely, there are 3 questions, 2 questions will be there. One can ask on the Bode plot and one can ask the polar plot or combination of polar and Nyquist plot. So they may ask any these 3. So this module 4 is completely only 3 plots are there: polar, Nyquist and Bode plots. And of course this construction of this Bode plot is also takes around 30 minutes. Okay, so 30 even root locus is also 30 minutes and all those. So likewise we need to plan how to which question you need to answer and all those in the exam. So time management is very important in this particular subject. Of course in the your seniors have scored even 99 in this subject. So that is a easy subject and as well as difficult subject if you want prepare properly. So you can score 90 plus in this subject, as well as you may fail also if you won't prepare properly. Okay, so that is very important in this particular control engineering subject. And coming to the module 5. So module 5 is talks about the system compensation of system. We are going to use the redesigning of the system. When you are going to redesigning of the system, we are going to use the compensators. When you redesign the any control system, when you're redesigning the any control system, we are going to use the compensators. So the compensators are nothing but compensating devices, lead compensator and lag compensator and all those, series compensation and then feedback compensation. All this system is called a series compensation system and as well as feedback compensation system. When you use the compensator in a series with the particular block diagram, then it is called as a series compensation. And if you are going to add parallel to the general block diagram, then it is called feedback. These are the 2 things. After that, we are going to study the lead compensation and as well as lag compensation. Lead compensation and lag compensation. Then we'll go to the state space variable analysis. So this is a this state space analysis is going to represent the state of a system. Means, say for example, in the previous whatever we studied from module 2 to module 4, we don't know the system status. We can say status at a particular point of time. If I want to know what is the status of a system at exactly at a particular point of time, then we have to use the state space concepts. That is what the state variable system. And this is we are going to study for only linear continuous data systems. We are going to study for linear continuous data system only in your module 5. And here it's completely based on the matrix representation of state equations and all those. And here we need to have the matrix diagram. You need to understand the matrix, how the matrix multiplication, inverse matrix, adjoint matrix, okay, transpose and all those, and rank of the matrix. So completely matrix you need to understand in order to understand this module 5. So matrix representation of state equation, controllability and observability, Kalman and Gilbert. These are the 2 tests which are going to use the controllability and observability that we discuss when we come to the module 5. So these are the 5 modules, a very brief introduction about each module. And these are the objectives of this course. I think once you understand this, what is this in the syllabus? So one is the modeling of mechanical systems. Modeling is nothing but mathematical modeling of mechanical system, and electronic, hydraulic, and pneumatic. That's we are going to study in the module 2. And representative of system by blocks and its reduction. That's what we are going to study, the block diagram reduction, and transient and the steady state response of a system. And then frequency response analysis using the polar plot, and the frequency response analysis using the Bode plot, which you have studied, and analysis of the system using the root locus plots, and which you are going to use the different system compensators. As I told, that series compensation and feedback compensation, as well as lead compensator, lag compensator, all this comes under this 7th objective. And variable characteristics of linear system means state variable characteristics of the state variable is nothing but we need to find out the status of any particular system at a particular point of time. So that we are going to study in the module. So these are the course objectives of a control engineering subject. And once you understand this, what and all there in this subject, and I'll give you the books, reference books which you have here. So one is the Ogata is very good book, Modern Control Theory, and also we have Nagarat M. Gopal, and Control System Principles and Design, Nagarat M. These are the books which you can get from the library. And Benjamin C. Coe is also a very good book, Automatic Control Systems, Benjamin C. Coe. If you look at the 5th one in the reference books, that is also a very good book about this control engineering. So you can refer these 3. I mean, even the control system engineer Norman S. Nice is also a very good book. You just go through. I think all the books are available in our library, so you can go through the reference as well as you can go through the textbook. You can take the textbook from the library and then you can read up. So and also you can get the what you call PDF. I think Kanishk will get PDF books of all this, and so go through all these textbooks. And the
sir, where will I get, sir?
Hey, you can get from books.org. Something is telling no, you got last time, no?
Sir, last time I got, sir. I don't know how I can get for every book, sir.
Okay, fine. I'll search and I'll get you. Okay, I'll get you. Okay, right. Okay, fine. So these are the books which you need to study for the control engineering. Okay. Anyhow, I'll be giving the notes also. I think I'll be giving the notes also. Please follow the class and make notes. That is very much important. And when it comes to the derivations and all those, please follow step by step. Probably the textbooks may not be give the complete picture. Okay. So there'll be what you call skipping the steps between. Okay. So might not understand. So go slowly. You can go step by step and understand easily. So it is easy for not such a difficult problematic here subjects. It is a very easy subject, and you can score 90 plus. I'm assuring in this. Okay. And but if you don't study, you'll fail. I'm sure in this. If you don't study, you'll fail in this subject. Okay. But module 1 is very much important for those who are not able to follow very what you call like a slow learners. Who are the slow learners? Please read the first unit very completely, and the module 5. Module 1 and module 5 is the first you need to finish off. For slow learners, I'm telling module 1 and module 5 you need to finish off first, and then you need to go for 2 and 3 and 4. And the remaining all the students, we can go with all the 5 modules. You can score the good marks. Now, coming to the course outcomes of this, please text your USN in the chat box. So now you have studied about completely the course which you are going to study. I mean, what are the contents in this course? So that will give you the brief outcomes. So the course outcomes are nothing but it's a narrative statements which talks about the at the end of the course what the students is going to be able to do. So you can able to describe the basics of a control system and types of the control system, as well as what are the controllers we are going to use, right? So as we told that in the module 1, you are going to study the proportional controller, integral controller, and differential controller. And also you are going to study the types of control system and the basics of control system you are going to describe. So this is the first course outcome which I have written. At the end of the course, you can able to describe the basics, types of control system and controllers. And course outcome 2, if you look at this, apply the block diagram, reduction rules, and Mason's gain formula to find the transfer function and determine the system governing equation for physical models. So as I told that we are going to study the block diagram reduction rules and Mason's gain formula. So you can understand, if you understand the block diagram reduction rules, then you can apply these rules to find the transfer function of the system. And also, as I told that the mathematical modeling of physical models, mathematical modeling of physical models. As I told, the physical models are nothing but mechanical system, electrical system, and thermal system, hydraulic and pneumatic systems. So all these models can be, you can determine the system governing equation. So as we told, simple example, mechanical system, if you look at the governing equation for the simple mechanical system is mx double dot plus bx dot plus kx is equal to f. So that is the system governing equation for a simple mechanical system. That's how we are going to determine, how we are going to find out all this governing equation. That is the outcome 2 I have mentioned. So at the end of the course, you can able to apply these rules. At the end of the course, you can apply the block diagram reduction rules, and you can apply the Mason's gain formula to find the transfer function of the system. Okay, and third one is analyze the time response of a first order and the second order system. So here, the first order system, I think you know what is the order of a system. You know what is the order of system. If the power of a any algebraic equation is the order is 2, then we can say it is second order system. First order means say x plus a is equal to 0. So it's the first order system. X square plus ax plus c is equal to 0. That is the second order system, like that. So analyze the time response of a first and second order systems. So at the course outcome, the third course outcomes I have mentioned, the time response is nothing but that which I have studied in the steady state and as well as the transient response. Steady state and transient. Time response is nothing but steady state as well as transient response of a first order system as well as second order system. You are going to analyze. Analyze in the sense how the stable when it is going to come to the stable. How long the transient phase will be there? Is there any overshoot? Is there? You are going to be any what you call error, steady state error is present in the system. So all this we want to analyze. All this you are going to analyze in the time response of first and second order system. So when it comes to the fourth one, evaluate the stability of this control system using the root locus, Bode plot, and Nyquist plot. As I told you that root locus, it is basically after constructing the root locus, we are going to study the stability of the system. So Bode plot, Nyquist plots, and polar plots also. I mean, not mentioned the polar plots here. So polar plots also. So root locus, Bode plots, and Nyquist plot, polar plots. All these plots we are going to represent. We are going to study the stability of the control systems. So we can evaluate the stability, how the stable, whatever the designed control system. You have designed a control system, and you are going to study the stability of that control system. So how to study the stability of the system? By using these 4 plots. By using these 4 plots that we are going to, after construction, we are going to study the stability of the system. So at the end of this course, you can able to study the stability of any control system, which by using these 4 plots, by constructing these 4 plots. And finally, the fifth course outcomes which I mentioned is the state space analysis. As I told that if you want to study the status of the system at a particular point of time, I need to understand first the state space concepts. Once you understand the state space concepts, then I can employ the state equations to study the controllability and as well as observability of the system, and also redesign of the control system by compensation. So if it is the system is not to the mark, not up to the mark, then we can go for redesigning of the system. So redesigning of the system by compensation can be done, okay, by using the compensators and all those. So these are the at the end of the course. So overall, the course has defined in this way, and these are the outcomes which are going to attain by the students at the end of the course. So this is my 5 course outcomes, and yeah, coming, I think you know what are the program outcomes. I think you'll be studying that at the end of the graduation, you should be able to apply the knowledge of your science, engineering, and fundamentals and all those. And problem analysis at the end of the graduation means at the end of your 4 years program, you can able to analyze the problems, complex engineering problems, and all those, and design and development of solutions, and conduct investigation. So my course is mapped to 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then 5 motor tool is, of course, this control system. I can use the MATLAB. I can use the MATLAB for you can use apply this what you call MATLAB technique for any designing of control system or studying stability of the control system, and all those I can use the MATLAB also. So PO5 is also can be mapped to this by introducing a kind of outcome based activity. We'll go to the time. I mean, if it is this corona is over, then we can go with when it comes to the contact classes, physical classes, then we can go to the laboratory of MATLAB, and then we can do this motor tool essays. And engineering society, of course, reasoning informed by the conduction of the societal issues and health, safety, legal, and cultural issues. But PO6 I have not mapped my course. 7th also I have not, because it is not involved much in the chemical process and all those. So environment and sustainability I am not talking about here. And ethics, of course, apply ethical principles, commit to professional ethics and responsibilities and norms of the engineering practice. So when you are designing any mechanical system or designing any control system, so you need to follow the ethical principles. And individual and teamwork, of course, we need to, I'm going to give the assignments so that this PO9 I'm going to attain. I'm going to give the assignments individually, or otherwise I'll assign a group, and then this group has to work on this same one question and submit it, so that individual and teamwork both will be attained for my PO9 program outcome. So through my course, I'm mapping this 1, 2, 3, and 5, and 9. And 10, communication, of course, it may be communicate effectively on the complex engineering activity. That is through assignments I can get it off. Okay, or if I give any seminars, you can comprehend and write effective reports and design documentation, make effective presentations also. So this, if you have given any seminars, effective presentation, that will come under the PO10, able to communicate effectively. So how best you're communicating. So these are the PO10 which you're going to talk about. And PO11, I'm not mapping with my course, because it talks completely about the project management and finance, which my course is not relevant to this PO11. And coming to the PO12, lifelong learning, of course, I'm giving the this what you call assignments and all those. It will come under the lifelong learning. Recognize the need for and have the preparation and ability to engage in independent and lifelong learning in the broadest context of technological issues. And this program specific outcomes, yes, of course, I have given with the PSO1 and PSO2, because mine is completely on design, analyze, and fabricate the mechanisms. It may be a control system or a physical system, electrical system, it may be anything. So I have mentioned the program specific outcomes to the one, as well as you are going to study the thermal systems also. You are going to study the hydraulic and thermal systems also, and mechanical systems, and as well as. So that's why I have mentioned this PSO2 as well. Analyze the thermal aspects of the different mechanical systems. So you are going to study in our module 2. So, but PSO3 I have not mentioned it, because it is not developing the materials and components through different manufacturing methods. I am not using any manufacturing methods, so I have not mapped this course to the PSO3. So these are the program specific outcomes which are going to attain at the end of the course. My course, not completely, one course will give you the program specific outcomes. With all the courses, we have written like this: PSO1 and PSO2 and PSO3. Right. So coming to the next introduction. So discuss the remaining in the